Hello and welcome, dear viewers, to another video. Today we look to the stars as we travel through the cosmos in Everspace. Everspace is a roguelike, three-dimensional action shooter game in space. It was both developed and published by Rockfish Games and released in May of 2017.
Oh, now he's doing space games. Well, he has already done one, actually. But yeah, I think you're supposed to stick with one genre, aren't you, for the algorithm?
To be honest, I don't really know. There isn't much thought or reason behind the games that I look at. It really is just whatever takes my fancy at the time. So I hope, dear viewers, that you will keep with me as we blindly grope around the games libraries and play whatever we manage to get hold of. So what is this game then, you might ask? Well, in brief, the game involves flying around in space, collecting materials and items while engaging in dogfights with baddies, all on your trek to reach the final sector and the end of the story. Everspace has a wonderful start menu. You can continue with all your progress you've made, a new hardcore run, options where you can see the controls, display, sound, game, language, and back. You can see the credits as well, but I won't click it because we always get stuck in there. And of course, lastly, you can quit. The game is roguelike in that you, the player, get one go or run at a time. You must pilot your ship through the galaxy, getting as far as you can before either completing the game or dying in a fiery heap. That is, you get one life per run, and once you die you're done and must start again.
With me.
You begin the game at the beginning, for I'm told that is a good place to start. You select from one of two ships, the Colonial Interceptor, the all-rounder, capable of equipping a large variety of equipment, but not excelling at anything in particular, and the Colonial Scout, the smallest but fastest, equipped with stealth technology. A third ship, the Colonial Gunship, can be unlocked for 10,000 credits. This is a beast, slow and deliberate, while unable to equip a shield. It makes up for this with a high hull point count, reinforced armor plating, and a big gun turret. Lastly, it can equip the largest weapons available. Throughout my time with the game, I have gravitated towards the gunship. Once I had unlocked it, I tended to select this when going for a run.
So, once you have a ship, what are you actually supposed to do?
Once you've selected a ship, you venture out into the galaxy. The game world is divided up into sectors, each containing a set of jump points. Each point is an area of the galaxy for you to explore. They seem to be randomly generated, or at least numerous enough that each run through feels different than the last. The jump points in each sector can be traversed how the player wishes, as there are usually several routes to take, but always to the same end point. Each jump point area will have numerous points of interest for the player to interact with. This can take the form of many things. The player can and should use the ship weaponry to harvest ore, scrap, crystal, and other raw materials which will be used for crafting. The player can also discover containers that, once shot at, may reveal some resources or equipment. There is also combat encounters that will happen at most, if not every, location. This can take the form of outlaw drones and ships to the large corvettes of the Oka. Besides the combat and the resource collecting, there are other interesting points of, interest. You will come across seemingly abandoned stations and wrecks that have been sealed off from prying eyes. If you come across an access key on your travels, then you'll be able to gain entry and potentially grab some of the rare items held within. Strange electrical storms which can cause havoc with your ship, along with singularities, which are essentially black holes that will suck you up and destroy you should you get too close. The rare dark matter and energy is only found in this vicinity though, so should you tempt fate and hope you can escape.
Whoa, Nelly!
There are also the odd wrecks that you will find out in the galaxy, each with their own little story which the player can learn once within hacking distance. And yes, the player is able to hack systems, such as sensor relays, the aforementioned wrecks, and jump signal jammers. There sadly, or thankfully, isn't a hacking minigame for the players to interact with. Rather, all is needed is to stay within hacking distance while the bar fills up. Now, once you actually have these resources and equipment and stuff, what do you do with it? Each ship has its own system slots for various different types of equipment. This takes the form of primary weapons, secondary weapons, support equipment, and consumables. primary weapons are your main workhorse weapons that will be doing most of the work for you and have infinite ammo. The secondary weapons take the form of missiles, torpedoes, mines and such. These only have limited uses though, so should be used wisely. The support equipment are permanent for the run, upgrades to your ship. These can be both passive, such as armor upgrades and sensor range, to active systems, such as a gun turret or missile defense system. Lastly, the consumables are items which have a single use, such as a damage booster, which provides a limited power boost to your weapons. This slot also handles drones. The player can use the resources they have gathered to craft on the fly any manner of equipment and items which they have blueprints for. This means you can create missiles, system upgrades, drones and even primary weapon systems. You can also craft upgrades to weapons and other systems, making them do more damage, more range, less energy, etc. Yes, energy usage, dear viewers. Your ship uses energy to boost its speed and equip items and upgrades. Take care of how much you are using, lest you find yourself with little to work with. Usually, especially in the first few hours of play, the player will end up dying, their ship destroyed and everything lost. When this happens, do not despair. You will be taken back to the ship select screen, but before you do, you can acquire perks. These are permanent upgrades that will affect every run you make, no matter what equipment you find. These perks are purchased with credits and come in two varieties. The first are general use perks that always affect the player, regardless of ship, and ship upgrades, which only apply to your specific ship. What the perks mean is that although you may die and lose everything, having to start the game from the very beginning, you'll be a little stronger each time you do, and the perks can be quite impactful. There are extra weapon slots, increased speed and energy capacities, along with bonus resources and equipment awarded at the start of each run. Unlike FTL, where in any run you can become very powerful or weak, no matter if it's your first or 100th, at the start of the game with Everspace, you are very much weak. Whereas in FTL, again, you could potentially luck out on your first run and be bristling with powerful weapons and upgrades. In Everspace, it feels a lot more incremental, with the floor raising up with you and the potential to do better increasing with every run you take. No matter how perked up you are though, you can still kill yourself like a muppet. I haven't even talked of the story. There is an overarching story of which various checkpoints in the galaxy will unlock further narrative encounters and flashbacks. It isn't some space epic, but it is a nice to unlock a new dialogue encounter or point of interest as you progress. Before you ask, yes, I do indeed like this game. As an avid FTL player, this sort of thing should be right up my street, and it is, of course. You could say this is FTL in 3D, but the games really have quite different gameplay and only commingle in general overview only. Faster Than Light is like a strategy game, whereas Everspace is an action combat game, and I think both are great in their own ways. I would recommend this to anyone that enjoys flying about in space with nice scenery and music, while also getting stuck into some real-time combat with no good evildoers and making steady progress with every playthrough. And there we go, dear viewers, yet another video done and dusted. I thank you again for checking out my channel, it means a lot. If you like the video and fancy doing so, please like, subscribe and or share with your friends. And now Paul close the doors once again to this dwarven hold. Goodbye, dear viewers, and see you in the next one.
Now that is a big ship.